Check 1, 2. Check the mic. I'm coming for you. Bless you.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of my podcast. A very monumental episode, actually.
This is the one.
If you're watching this on YouTube, you should watch this on YouTube if you happen to be listening to it, like on iTunes or Spotify or something, because if you hear, we're at the beach.
It's beautiful.
We're here on Santa Monica Pier, right?
Right.
Actually, in California. You're not from here, so...
Yeah, I feel like it's a little misleading.
Yeah.
Because, like, you're not from here around here. I'm not from around here.
Yeah,
we're just
we're just here.
We're just here. It's a moment.
But your sister has been kind enough. She's off camera. She's going to be providing the laugh track for this whole thing. But she's been kind enough to, like, kind of take us to Disneyland and take us to the beach.
Be our mom.
Basically, yeah.
Our supervisor. Make sure we don't get in too much trouble.
Yeah, so... How we actually met. So I actually just met you a couple days ago.
Right.
At this Cheap Seat Society event. So shout out to Ashley Kachadorian. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
For putting on the event. It was awesome. I'm probably going to put up some footage from it once I get back. So maybe
Cool.
You'll know what I'm talking about. But I actually was not like familiar with your content before being on this lineup before.
And like same for me with you. And I think that's really cool. I think like the whole fact that like it brought people together.
Yeah.
The whole event. I was really glad that we did it because I think I told you this. I came to like the realization that 6 years ago you put up a halftone video, right?
Yep. Photoshop tutorial. And I used that. That's how I didn't know it was you. And like looking back, like, or looking to see who was going to be at the event, I like saw this like Justin Odisho. I'm like, okay, who is he? I type it up and I'm like, yeah, sure enough. You're like, oh, I think I used that.
Oh yeah, I did it to make a t-shirt or something, some screen printing like project clear back in the day. So
yeah,
thanks.
and that's also so I feel like a lot of people that watch me might be into like cameras or video, but I am just now starting to get into the whole like screen printing
Right.
your own clothes because I've been wanting to make merchandise.
Okay, yeah.
A big sweatshirt that says "Hi everyone" on it.
That would be killer.
Stay tuned.
I would get it.
And so I was unaware of this whole world that exists of like DIY. Would you call it DIY?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's DIY. A lot of times, are like how to.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, there's not really like a distinction or a difference. But like for me, I kind of feel like there is. For some reason, I don't even know why.
Between DIY and
like how to. For some reason, I feel like how to isn't always craft stuff. And DIY is more like craft stuff.
Yeah.
But that's like my separation of mine. I'm sure everyone else is like, no, it's the opposite way around, or that's like inexistent.
Yeah.
For me, that's how it is.
But categories aside, so like anyways, we met at the event.
Right.
I didn't know if you had seen my content before. My first impression of you was like, wow, this guy's really nice. Like, so I couldn't tell if he had like just been if I really helped you out and you're like, oh, I love your tutorials, you really helped me out.
Or just like being a nice
Yeah,
guy.
but then after we went to Disneyland and everything and I realized you guys are just really nice, I was like, he probably didn't see much of my videos, he's just really nice. I told Ashley that.
Just a nice guy.
Yeah, for those of you, for people who might not be too familiar, well, your YouTube name is Shmoxd.
Right.
But Shmoxd. So
Correct.
like obviously you probably hate it, but everyone probably calls it Shmoxd first.
I don't mind it. Like Shmoxd, it's kind of like endearing. For me, it's like, oh, they just like like it, or I don't know.
It's like when people say like jalapenos instead of jalapenos on purpose.
And like some of my like really good friends actually call me Shmoxd or like Shmoxd because they know that's not right.
Yeah, it's funny.
So it's funny, and so like I really like don't mind, but yeah, it is Shmoxd.
And your real name's Brian.
Your name's Brian.
Pernew, right?
Pernew.
Okay, why did I think it was Pernew?
Because it has
a lot of
E.
R's.
There's a lot of R's. There's a lot of E's.
Yeah.
It's like it's pronounced or it's spelt like Perenoud. Perenoud. Is like grammatically that's how it's, or phonetically. Phonetically, that's how it's. Grammatically correct. That's how it's pronounced.
So, since like I don't know, I know what you do now. I know like what your channel's about and what the vibe's about. But I would love to know how you got started making videos and like posting to YouTube. How you even got started. Take it way back to like
I'm actually
way back. Did you make everything you're wearing?
Well, like this shirt.
I figured. Okay.
Yeah, this shirt is actually one of the brands I did. It's called Specialty.
Okay.
And that's kind of like jumping ahead a little bit, but basically.
But I realized basically everything you wear, you've had something to do with it. Like your hat, you probably made it.
Yeah, actually, Romney, my girlfriend, made this one.
Yeah.
So like, everything is kind of.
And at Disneyland, you were wearing like this cool cat shirt. That got a bunch of compliments.
That was nice. A bunch of old ladies hitting on me. It's cool. It's whatever. It's what you get. What you get. What you can get. You know. Take what you can get.
So like, how did you? Were you always into?
Yeah. So.
Making DIY or like making clothes or what?
I guess it is. It all comes down to like making clothes.
Yeah.
Because I've been really into like screen printing from forever ago, or like art. I remember in high school I had an art class, and the teacher was pretty cool, and he would just like let me do whatever. My buddy's like, hey, let's start a brand. And so we kind of like figured out how we could do it at home. I have a picture somewhere of it's like him and I, and we're just like shirts off because it's just so hot. We're just made like, you know, hot in the temperature wise, not in the other way.
Yeah.
It's so hot, and we're like just.
And you're from Utah.
I'm from Utah, right?
Okay. And I want to get into that too. Keep going.
We'll get into that.
It gets hot in Utah.
It does. It gets hot, and well, also like so making the shirts, you had to cure the ink on the shirts, and so you had a flash dryer, and so that got even hotter.
A what? A flash?
A flash dryer.
What's that?
So, like
something that dries things in a flash, I assume.
That's you're right on the nose.
It gets really hot.
So that's what it is. Some inks need to be like heated up to a certain amount of degrees.
Yeah.
In order to cure or like stay on the shirt.
I've heard the word cure when it comes to like meat.
Yeah. Same thing.
Like, I'll have a deli expert on the show in the future, and I'll ask.
Yeah, I really need to know. These are the important questions that we need answered. No.
But you're in high school.
High school, shirts off, just happy naked boys making T-shirts, super hot. Temperature-wise, like pudgy, still a little pudgy, but it was really cool because like I was doing the art, and it was really cool to like have something I made and like have other people like being wearing it, you know, and I could like point out like, oh, that's cool. He's wearing my art around. And so it was really cool, and
So you had this little brand going on in your town, and would you say like who was wearing it? Just like your two friends, or like? Did it take over the school?
It kind of took over the school.
Really?
I'm from a really small town, so it's not like a huge feat. Take over school. Like,
the school
3
was
people.
Like class roster of 30.
Seriously though, so it was really small, and like we were pretty like nice guys, and so everyone like whether they like actually liked the design or just wanted to like support us, I don't know, but it was really cool.
You've always been nice. Okay.
I'd like to say so. Apparently, some like people I've met, this goes back to a totally different story, but like I'll meet people and then like later on they'll like think I'm mean. I'm like, I really like this guy.
Oh no.
But anyways, so yeah, that started it.
So like high school arts classes and stuff.
Art classes, we had the T-shirt thing, and we did everything ourselves, and like even like we wanted to make it look really cool and like have like product tags. So we figured out how to like cut out. Like we went to the recycle bin and got like old cereal boxes and like cut out like tags and like screen printed on those to make like product tags. Like everything was kind of like this.
Cereal boxes are kind of stiff, aren't they? Like cardboard.
Yeah. Well, like so we wouldn't sew them in. It would just be like the. Oh, I'm getting sandpaper.
Oh, tags. Sorry, no, tags like price.
Yeah, like so like pricing tags.
Okay.
And we'd, like put them on there and like.
So you were selling these.
Yeah, we're selling them, like doing everything.
Dope.
And like we made enough money to like fund the next project. And so it was really cool, and looking back on it, it's funny because a lot of the like crafts I do now, YouTube stuff, has actually been stuff that I learned with my friend, like screen printing or even like sewing stuff. You know, it's things that I had to learn clear back then, and I'm kind of just like.
You have a pigeon friend.
Oh my gosh.
I always wonder. It comes off and it hits the record button.
My asshole
it's
dog.
Like you guys are done.
My dog. That's what my dog does all the time. But it's like when I'm like watching something on my Xbox, it like glows up. She just like poke with her nose.
I did one other episode where there was cats and the cat on the table, and it came up and it like sniffed everything and it almost like turned it off. But it was like, you guys are good. But no, anyways,
I kind of hope it happens.
So you have all these videos on your channel sharing. Let's say, for example, what's like one of your videos is like how to. Okay, let's say you did one that said how to make tags out of cardboard cereal boxes.
Yeah.
You learned that by just out of kind of necessity and craftiness. back when you were doing it for out of passion in high school, right?
Right.
What? So was this brand that was specialty?
So
or was that something else?
That was a different one. It was called Pretty New, which was a play on like
on your last name.
On my last name. And this one.
So you didn't let your other friend like have any say?
No, I'm just like, this is my brand. We actually got in a huge fight, and I kind of feel bad about some stupid design. He's like, I wanted to do diamonds, and he's like, no, diamonds are cliche. And I'm like, I know what's cool. It's my brand. But.
So you guys just like split up the brand at that point?
No, we kept on going, and like it was taking off, and we go to college, and then we both
Did
left.
you think at the time like this is it, like this is gonna be?
Oh yeah, I was like, I had future
we're doing.
plans. I'm like, this is what I'm gonna do for the whole rest of my life. I can just have this brand. We're gonna be the next Volcom. We're gonna be the next, you know, some brand, some clothing brand, kind of skate style brand, but no, things don't always work out.
No, there's probably a lot more. So then, how did you get into? Is that leading up to getting into making videos, or is there still way more to go?
Well, I mean, the stuff in between is kind of more similar. Like I had another brand, the specialty brand I'm wearing, where we'd like find artists and like we were doing a monthly T-shirt subscription and take those guys like the artists' work and put them on shirts, and like that fell through because a lot of stuff. But so it's funny because like it's a whole lot of the same, but everything kind of brought me to like this realization of like I'm making stuff, I might as well share it. And like I had Instagram, I had Twitter, I had all that stuff, and like I just like felt like I was just missing YouTube, you know. So I'm like, why not?
When was this?
That would be.
When did you start your YouTube channel?
2 years ago this October.
Wow. So it's pretty recent.
Yeah, it's really recent. I didn't expect it to do well.
It's kind of taken off. Like.
Yeah.
Did it take off like all at once?
No, so like it was really slow first coming, but I tried to like really like put quality stuff out there at first, and so everything was really like slow going. I'd have like a video every 2 months or something like that.
Can you take me into like, because that's a big decision, is like start a YouTube channel, start sharing. Can you take me into like what was that like your first video? Did you go buy a camera? Did you have to learn all that stuff? Did you know anything about it? Or what?
So like some of the part of like the old brand, how like I said like we wanted to be like a skate action sport,
promotional materials, right?
Well, we did promotional, and we did like
taking pictures, and
we were big snowboarders, big skaters, and so I was like, oh, let's make a brand skate video. And so I had like I bet you could find it. I need to go find it.
Yeah, those are popular, right? Skate videos.
Yeah, so I had like a Pretty New production is what I called it, and it was just like a dinky snowboard video where I dressed up in the gorilla costume, and like we just goofed off, and another skate one that was whatever. So like I kind of like had the feel for it. I've always liked editing and filming.
Yeah. It ties in, I guess. It's creating something out of material.
Right. And so like the whole creative process is kind of just interlaced with a whole lot of other things, I feel. Like even just like design.
Yeah, that's why I like your stuff too, because it's so different, because it's like physical rather than digital.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing, because you're designing, and you are doing digital designs.
Right.
But I love the idea of like having different inks and having different cottons and fabrics, and
yeah, it kind of brings this whole new world of like products or really design, because you can like have one digital design, but the way that you'd print it could be totally different depending on ink, you know, like you were saying. So it kind of plays in each other, and I learned all that through the brands and through just like trying to figure out how to make the brands work, I guess you could say, or just having fun. Like we'd tie-dye stuff like underwear, and I have like a video about how to tie-dye, and it's like stuff I learned then. And
so what was your first video on your channel? So
the first video was this
and when you started the channel, did you have an idea of what it was going to be?
No, and the other thing is I'm kind of just a perfectionist, and so it was really hard for me to put out that first video, because like I got it filmed and I'm like editing it, and I'm just like, I could do a little bit better. And I did have the idea, so I was coming up with the idea to like do a stencil or like a mural, and throw water balloons filled with paint to make it. So like kind of like a different take on stenciling.
Yeah.
And I thought like, okay, that'll be different enough. It'll be a good way to showcase my art.
Oh, that's really cool, actually.
Yeah.
What was it a stencil of?
It was just like a ski mask
Okay. Cool.
And it was like a picture I had taken.
So you taped up the wall on
Mhm.
the edges, and then you left some part exposed, and you would throw the balloons at it.
It didn't work out quite as well, but like it was really fun. And thinking back on it, like in the whole like process of me like making a YouTube video or making a YouTube channel, the first thing I actually did even before making that video was I made a studio wall to like take pictures to like make the
Like product shots.
well, not even product shots, make the image for the stencil. And also I made the intro that I have for my how-to videos. I made that first thing.
So where did you come up with the name Shmoxd?
It was a nickname. So my last name's Pernew, but people pronounce it Pernude. And so my good buddy, his name is Taylor. He's the one I did the Pretty New brand with.
Okay.
We were either living together in university or something. Anyways, we were living in the same city.
They got us,
They
guys.
gave
We
us a
gotta
drone.
pack up. We got a 5-star wanted level. No podcasting on the beach.
Freaking scared. Oh Lord. No. So yeah, Shmoxd, and he just like it was just a nickname, and it kind of was like
back in the days, there was like Shmoney, like that rapper had the Bobby
Dude,
Shmurda.
I don't even think I knew that.
No?
But like I think there was like a trend of like
It
putting
might-
SH on
yeah.
front of like anything to make it a nickname.
Yeah.
But also I was a bit of like a mooch and a schmooze and a
Okay.
smooch and
I see.
and like it morphed into like this like verb that like if you're gonna schmood, it either means you're like gonna mooch food or like still a girl and smoocher and stuff because I was a slime bag.
Okay.
But
We'll get into that.
we'll get into that.
Why'd you spell it with an X?
So the OX.
The pressing question.
The very pressing questions.
The hard hitting.
This is what we need to know. No, it was kind of two things. So Shmoxd, I wanted it with two O's, right? And I was gonna have like a little smiley face with the two O's being an I.
Like a logo, yeah.
Yeah, and like throughout my whole art, the OXI has kind of been something like the logo for specialty, I think. Yeah, the logo for Pretty New was this little like crown with an OX face.
Yeah.
So like the OX like eyes have always been like kind of part of like my own brand, and so I wanted to incorporate that, and then also like the handle and like the URL for the double O was taken,
Yeah, I figure, yeah.
and so I
That
kind
was
of
probably a Bobby Shmurda fan.
freaking Bobby Shmurda still in my name. So yeah, just like kind of out of necessity. Necessity, thank you.
Had kind of worked.
Yeah, and it worked, and I think it worked to my advantage because we got into the topic of like people don't really know how to pronounce it.
We have our first viewer.
Oh, nice.
Whoever's listening on iTunes, I'm sorry, but just it's funny because there's things happening around us on the beach.
It's the whole.
I
like,
think you could still hear it. You could hear the vibe of it.
You can hear the vibe.
So you created the URL
Create the URL.
in 2016 then, right?
Right, and I kind of just launched everything then.
And did you like start a new Instagram page, or was everything?
I had two Instagram pages at the time. I had like a personal one and then like an art one.
Okay, cool.
And I just deleted the personal one, went all to art, kind of did like a kind of rebrand.
Did you tell your friends, like, was this a big thing? You've always been sharing your stuff.
I mean,
Was it like something you kept on the low? Like,
Well,
I'm not telling you I'm gonna start your YouTube channel.
no, well,
Or did you not care? Because
Well,
I was definitely the former.
I came into the Instagram game so late. I think it was like 2014 or 15
Yeah.
when I actually like made my first Instagram, and so I was coming in so late that like
Still early, but in yeah.
yeah,
people
in
were
retro, like there's people that like, I guess you're right, still early, but for me it seems really late. I feel like, and so I didn't really have like a huge following even like from my high school. I know like the high school kids who followed
Yeah.
any of the earlier brands or anything. So
We already graduated at this point, and like it's too late.
right, it's too
You couldn't
late.
carry over the high school clout.
Yeah, and so I just like deleted. I didn't even delete it. I just renamed it like poop with like 100 O's, and just deleted all my posts, and then moved over to
And then
my.
someone's like, "Why am I following poop?"
Why am I following poop? I should have like posted stuff, just like some really nasty poops. Then I.
But I think that's important, because did the same thing for some reason. It's like important to start a blank slate.
Yeah.
Like this is just gonna be work, or this is gonna be a fresh start.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And it's not gonna have all the baggage of like my old high school friends or whatever.
Right.
You know, and just post what I want.
There is something like refreshing of like new scenery, new places, like a new beginning.
Yeah.
In that you get that chance to rebrand, like not only like your brand or whatever, but like who you are, which would be your brand. So I guess your brand, but
yeah,
it gives you that new start and fresh. It was really nice for me, and I don't know if
was at the time where was there people that you remember looking at and being like, maybe not consciously, but wow, that person's killing it. Like I would love to.
Let's see.
Some example that showed you that it was possible, because you said you started late in the game as compared to who? Like, was there someone killing it already?
I mean, I feel like all like my old friends were like had like pretty successful in my eyes like Instagram pages, and it was just like their own like personal page. Like I was kind of coming to it like with these eyes of like, okay, they're popular, they have a lot of friends and whatnot. And
what was that at the time, like 1,000?
Yeah, like 1,000, or if they're getting like more than 100 likes on a post. I was just like, that's incredible. And like I still think it is. I think especially if it's just like your own account, that's still like, those are big numbers.
100.
Right?
I clearly remember that 100 mark. Like,
oh
if
yeah.
I could hit 100 on a picture, I was like Gucci.
You're killing it.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it really was just like, I don't know, I wanted to make something of the art.
Okay, yeah. So you had somewhat of a goal in mind.
Right.
So you started that. So whatever happened with that video, did you?
So with the video, I made it. I made it as like, I kind of tried to put my own like editing type stuff into it, and like of course nothing really came of it, you know, as like your first videos never really will unless you already have like a base, you know, that you're coming from. It's coming off of really almost nothing, but it was really fun. And I mentioned this earlier, like part of the video I got hit in the eye with a paint balloon, a water balloon filled with pink paint, and like the girl who threw it at me was my ex-girlfriend at the time, so I think she had a little vendetta, or like a little angry at me or something. But anyways, she was
she was your ex-girlfriend.
She was my
during
ex-girlfriend.
the time of filming. You're just
right.
like, I need someone to help me.
Yeah, and she came.
So she just sabotaged.
She did. She was only like 5 feet. I'm like, all right, throw it hard enough because it pops. That's all I said. I'm like, you need to throw it hard enough so it pops. Puts all of her weight behind it. It hit me so fast and so hard that I couldn't have time to close my eyes. So like inside my eye was just like pink. She said, and like I remember thinking, like I was just like, ow, shit, ow, I'm gonna be blind. Just like so scared of being blind. And like after that,
you're like, this YouTube thing was a bad idea.
This is a terrible idea.
Go blind on your first video attempt.
And and then like I edited it, and I got like some really cool shots from that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, worth it. I don't care if like this is what I have to do the rest of my life, like get paint balloons in my face and eyeball, if this is like something that I can do or make a career out of. And so with that kind of attitude, I just kept on making videos.
So you really found that you enjoyed the process of sharing and like creating something.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Then what were you doing? You said if you could make a career out of this, how were you making a living before?
So I'd been screen printing my whole, like, I think it's been like 10 years, honestly.
So you got a job at a screen printing place?
So I immediately, like, after like high school, whatever, during like college, I got a job at a screen print shop, and it was really fun for the first little bit to like learn everything. Like, and I already like knew a bit, but like you get to learn like really like the little nitty gritty secrets and stuff.
The litty ditty details.
The litty ditty fitty giddy details, and it became really monotonous for me. And I'm kind of the type that has a hard time with like schedules and structure. And eventually, I actually got fired from that job, which turned out being like one of the best things ever.
What made you get fired?
Filming.
Oh, so you were like in the process of doing YouTube stuff?
Yeah, so I was still working there when I was doing YouTube stuff, and they were really weird about stuff. They're like, we don't want any of our secrets getting out, when like everything they did was on the internet.
Standard
like
screen.
Yeah, they had nothing.
I thought it's like the standard. You pour the goop on the thing.
Yeah,
and then you use the like windshield wiper thing.
That's it. Like as simple as that sounds, that's it. Like there aren't very many like secrets like that are gonna be like entirely game changers to make your business huge,
fail
you know,
or
fail. Yeah. And so they were really weird about it, and I filmed a Snapchat, and they got pissed and like walked off
literally
the
just not, you didn't, it wasn't like filming a YouTube video, you just filmed like a story.
Snapchat, yeah.
Snap.
And they didn't know what Snapchat was.
Really?
Like the fact that like disappeared. But anyways, long story short.
Oh, they didn't get it. Okay.
Yeah, they were like, we said no filming.
So it wasn't like a family business. It was like.
Well, that's the thing is they were like in between being family or being corporate. They're in this weird like transition phase where they didn't really know what to do. So I think that's part of it. The other part of it was I really wasn't that great of an employee. Like I was a hard worker when I was there, but that's
for the first bit.
Well, no, even like throughout the whole time, but it was when I was there. I'm kind of, like I said, I'm really bad with schedules. So
yeah, when you were there,
when you're there, I worked hard, and that's kind of work hard when I'm there. But yeah, so it turned out being really good. During that time.
But at the time, were you like, no, I got fired from the only thing that I'm good at?
The only thing.
Were you like that irrationally?
I was a little irrationally because the tailor friend of mine, right, from the business, was actually the boss there. So it was really weird.
Oh, the guy
from my old brand.
So it came full circle. He's like, you thought you were gonna be able to print those diamonds on that shirt. Now I'm your boss.
Now I'm your boss. You're for no diamonds. Yeah, no. So it's kind of funny. Like, he didn't really.
Was it embarrassing or something?
Well, he didn't have anything to do with it. There's other people. He was like the second person up, and so he kind of stayed out of the whole ordeal just because he's my friend. I didn't want to be like biased, but that also kind of backfired because I did get fired, whatever. But no, it was really good because at the time, I had recently put out a video of how to embroider a patch.
Okay.
And that one had started blowing up.
Really? Was this like your in comparative to the water balloon thing?
Yeah, like my first couple were kind of more like just me showing art. I had like a couple kind of tutorial type things. And my girlfriend, Romney, who was my ex-girlfriend, we're back to being girlfriend, whatever, she taught me how to embroider like patches. And so I'm like, let me do this.
Would you say this is like what, like your third, fourth video? How many months in?
I'm not entirely sure.
Maybe.
It was pretty recent. Like, I was super surprised that it did so well. And because of that one, though.
How recent? So you're saying, like, you recently got fired?
No, it was years. Okay. It was probably like a year and a half ago or like a year. I was probably like 6 months into making videos or a year into making videos. It was like a fun little
hobby that you were keeping up.
Right. And
so you got fired. This video was kind of taken off at the same time. Maybe it was perfect timing.
Yeah, I think it really was. Like, it's crazy how timing is a big part of things, and also just like really making the most of your time. Like, while I was at that screen printing shop, I was making a bunch of merch for myself and like doing the brands and whatnot. And so I was just still learning the whole like making a business or making a brand aspect of my channel, or like I guess what I'm trying to do with the channel, like brand it out and whatnot. But yeah, so it was just good timing. The video was doing well. And it was cool because it kind of made this like whole like transition of what my channel was about. Because originally I was like, I'm just going to be making videos about my art and try to showcase my art, another platform to show that off and hopefully get some more eyes on stuff or people that might like the art. And that one kind of made it transition more into like a craft how-to channel.
Yeah, I have a similar thing. Yeah. My first couple of videos were just me doing stuff in Photoshop.
Okay.
Like putting a fake tattoo on somebody, but not really explaining anything or saying anything.
Right.
Just like same like as if you would just record yourself drawing. But then the first time I did like a how to do something, that one really took off a lot more. And I was like, oh, wait, maybe I should do more of these. Did you think like that? Yeah,
well, can you imagine, like, what would have happened for you if, like, you were just, like, if that was your only tutorial? What if you just, like, went right back into...
Just showing?
Yeah, do you think your channel would have, like...
No, absolutely. The how-to stuff is... Because people want to learn something. As good as you are, people only care so much about watching someone be good. You know what I'm saying? They did... At the end of the day, it's like, what can you do for me? Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, no, totally. I think...
Unless they're like genius level and...
Well, and
like they just inspire you crazily.
Well, and I think like a lot of people come into YouTube looking to either learn something or be entertained.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's more like categories, but that's like my basic
split.
Yeah, they want to be entertained or learn something, figure out how to do something. And so it's funny to see like that's how our channels like developed, and we were able to make that transition and be versatile in the fact that like we didn't have to stick with what we were doing at the very beginning. Where like I see some other channels, like one of my buddy's channels, he has Rose Anvil, it's what it's called. And
what is it called?
Rose Anvil.
Oh, okay.
And he's actually my roommate, and he's starting up a channel, and it's interesting to see, and I'm excited to kind of see how it plays out. I don't know if he's going to be doing like tutorials or what's going to be successful for him, because there like is no one set path. I feel like the best path or the best way to take things is do what works and kind of be flexible in that manner. So that's kind of what happened to my channel with the whole.
So you are freshly fired. You're also on the other side. Your video is freshly taking off.
Mm-hmm.
Did you think, gotta go find a new job now, or did you think, wait a second, what's this thing going on here?
Well,
what can I do with this?
Yeah, well, I thought, you have these opportunities in life where like I feel like you're not gonna always have them. For a lot of people, it's like traveling. Like you're not always gonna be able to travel, so you need to travel now. Maybe just starting a company, and that's kind of what it was for me. Like I don't think I'm gonna have this opportunity where I have kind of a video that's doing well, that I can start kind of devoting more of my time into developing a channel and trying to make that work for me. And with that mindset, I'm like, okay, well, I have some money saved up. Rent's super cheap. I was living with 8 guys.
In Utah still?
Yeah, in Utah. And I'm like, rent's cheap. Let's just, live off of what I can. Which, I mean, if it's just...
For a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I think I had merch at the time, and I think that's what I lived off of for a good, 6 months, was just merch. And it was awesome, because it was also made me be able to focus more on
our pigeon friend.
Yeah, focus more on my pigeon friend. Get out of here! Yeah. No, focus more on the channel and really do with it or make it become, what I do.
Yeah.
So it was really nice.
So would you say? So now would you say you have been able to get closer or accomplish that? It is what you do now, right?
Right, it is what I do. I'm doing, we've been doing it, both of us have been doing it full time, right, for about a year now.
Yeah, we were saying there's that 1 year mark. It's kind of nice. It's like, okay. Because it's like, first it's like a month, right? You're like, oh, cool, it's working for this month. And then 2 months, and then 3 months, and 6 months.
You're like, how long is this going to last? Is this going to die next week?
Yeah, and then once you're at a year, you're like, okay.
Feeling a little confident.
Solid year. Don't they say most restaurants fail
within the first
year, right? Or they go bankrupt within the first 5 years or something?
Yeah.
So I just want to cross the 2 year or 5 year mark.
Once we get to the 5 year mark, I'll be feeling a little more like, okay, this is working.
Yeah, but I'm with you. I have been doing this full time, but I'm still kind of on my toes a little bit.
Oh yeah, so for sure.
For me, I have this idea of this podcast and expanding it and doing all this other stuff. Do you have any how meticulous are you with planning? Because everything seems to have been pretty organic, but do you have this crazy business mind going on in the background? I mean, a little bit. Like I always said, from all my past experience with trying to run a brand and doing all these things, I do have kind of this whole business marketing worry, or I try to think about that as much as I do the other stuff. Ideally, I wouldn't have to. I could just work on creative stuff, but because it's just me and I'm trying to make this work, I can't really afford to pay someone else to do it, so I have to learn how to do it. So how do you monetize a clothing brand, I guess? Okay, here's the thing. Do you feel like everyone wants to start a clothing brand, right? Yeah, I said that earlier. I think and I definitely felt that in high school when I was making a brand. I'm like, everyone's doing it, and they had just came out with this You Do screen printing press, and I'm like, everyone's making a brand. How can we make this different? And what's awesome is I feel like a lot of people are trying to make brands, but I think thanks to Instagram and the huge globalization of the internet,
it's kind of a really plausible thing to do. And that comes along with like all sorts of like creators or whatever you do.
Yeah.
Like it's the market's huge now for almost everything. And like, yeah, it might be a little saturated with like clothing brands or whatever you're doing. But that's where you got to kind of like find your own niche, right?
Yeah.
And make it work for you. And with the brand, I don't even think I consider it a brand right now.
What do you consider it? It's just you, kind of.
It's kind of just me.
It's you and your work.
And my work, and like I guess there's merch, but I'm hoping to develop that to like actually be a brand and be something like a staple, where people can like maybe even like find it in stores. You know, I'm open to a lot of things, and I think that's probably the most important thing, is to be open to these things, to not just shut them down. And definitely like I'm gonna have to like think about retail if I actually wanted to do it. Like I'd have to like weigh out the pros and cons.
Don't you feel like everything's moving to e-commerce though?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think it's funny. Like the mall in my small little hometown is just like dying.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's kind of happening. I mean, we're right here at the beach. I'm looking around, and there's like all this tourists that are kind of keeping this whole market alive of like you buy things where you are for like the event or the experience, rather than, you know, just buying e-commerce. So there's like a flip side. I personally don't know what's gonna happen, but I do see like a huge flip to like e-commerce, rather than going out and buying a shirt. You can just go buy it online for convenience, you know.
Yeah. So you do your own. You do basically merch right now. You do rings.
I do rings.
Like, I guess going back to still like the monetizing yourself question.
Mm-hmm.
What was that? Was there one thing that really helped you? Because a lot of people ask me, how do I switch to doing this full time? One, you said you lowered your expectations, or you basically like really dramatically lowered your budget on like what you'd be willing to, like, you didn't need the fanciest stuff for a while. You said, as long as I can work on this stuff.
Dude, I lived off that dollar menu. You know I lived off that dollar menu. I still live off the dollar menu.
Not sponsored.
Not sponsored. No, yeah, like, and like it was like.
But was there anything else that was there like something that you did, like you put out a certain product, or you started your own website that really helped you?
Yeah, I'm trying to think what helped me out most. Like I said, I lived off of. There was a time where I had the really cheap rent, lived with 8 guys. It was miserable, but like I was living off of my merch, and it felt really cool. Like that it was my own thing that was helping me stay alive, you know, rather than like putting all my effort into someone else's
like screen printing business.
Yeah, I was like working on my own thing, you know.
Yeah. And
I think my buddy we were talking about this, about how it's like sweat equity. Like you're putting your own sweat and your own time into your own thing, so later it'll be worth more money. Kind of like if you bought a house and like you use your own sweat and stuff to make the house better, you'd be just making profit off your sweat equity.
Yeah,
so
I've
same
heard
thing.
that term.
Yeah, so like I kind of like had that choice of either working for working for a screen printing company, or kind of trying to do my own thing and just seeing how it goes. And like I guess like worst comes to worst, I had a safety net. I had my parents. I have friends. I have family. If like I had to, I could have like bummed at their house with 8 guys. I bet they would have let me live there for like free for a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so going back to the original question, the biggest thing, or like right now for me, the biggest thing that makes me think I can do this is actually Patreon.
Really?
Yeah, because
that's so interesting.
Right, because it's my most steady income, and I need to be better with Patreon. I'm falling behind, but like having people like believe in my stuff directly, and like have this more of a steady income than like maybe I have one good video that has a sponsor, or like one good video with good monetization, or one product. For me right now, that's what it is, and I wonder. I bet it will change. Like I don't know. But like just right now, that's what it is.
Yeah.
That's my most steady income.
Well, you have some people that they decide to turn off advertising completely in exchange for, like, if people support them directly, they'd rather do that than have advertising. And we were talking about
Oh
this.
yeah.
The whole, like, internet free, like the ad-free internet. Like, is that possible? Would it be better if it was just all
It'd be
directly?
incredible.
Because if you think about it, right, people want to watch your content. Okay, let's say someone really appreciates your content.
Okay.
They learn a ton from it. Helps them, like, create things that they want. They learn how to tie-dye.
Yep.
They made tie-dye underwear.
Cool.
It was awesome. And they want you to keep being able to make stuff instead of having to go work for a screen printing company and not be able to teach them anymore. So they can just support you directly. Because if you because nothing's free, right?
Right, nothing's free.
You're paying either with your time by watching advertisements, or you're paying directly with your money. So I think the math was like $1 is worth watching a lot of ads, like a whole, like an hour or more of ads.
Yeah.
And
that was right.
That's the other thing too, is like, if everyone can give $1, right?
Right, exactly.
To the things that they enjoy. And you don't need everyone to give a lot of money, because if you can get 5,000 patrons or whatever, because you get 5,000 views on a video, you know? It's like if everyone...
If just one person...
If everyone just gave a penny,
a penny, right? $500, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Is my math good there? But yeah, 500.
But like, you have videos with 1 million views. If like all of them just paid a penny to watch it,
right? It'd be crazy.
It'd probably equal out to like the same as the AdSense.
Yeah, it probably would. But with that, so you're pro? Are you pro like no ad internet?
I think that there's better ways to monetize than ads.
I do too.
I think like, I hate that when people say I can't monetize my videos yet or whatever.
Right.
Or like, you know how there's a restriction? But it's like, nobody's stopping you from monetizing just because you don't have AdSense.
Right.
I don't think AdSense should be... People are going to hate on me for this.
I'm
not like against the small creator, but... I mean, we didn't have AdSense right away either. It's like, you have to monetize... AdSense should not be your top monetization anyway, because if it is, that means you're
missing out somewhere else.
You're missing out on a lot.
Merch or even like... what's really cool is I feel like a lot of like big companies and brands are looking for smaller businesses to sponsor, because it's a more like targeted market. Like, it's a small audience, or not audience, small.
It's direct.
It's
you know,
direct.
people
like
trust...
their target audience is more. It's not very like different. You know what I mean? So like, if they want to reach someone specific, there's these small brands that have just that specific audience.
Yeah.
So I think that's a really cool thing that like allows a small brand. That's what's helped me. I had some sponsors early on because I think they were looking for just people, you know, who liked
it's real people
embroidering, because that one video that did well, you know.
Yeah.
So they like looked and they're like, you know, we want these people who are making patches, and most of his followers or his subs are just patch, like people who follow him for the patch or whatever.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting. Yeah, I think you're right on the money. Like, the AdSense shouldn't be your biggest money maker.
Yeah.
So
and the only way would be if you're getting like millions and millions and millions of views, and at that point there's better things that you could be doing.
Oh yeah.
But speaking of like patches and clothing and sponsors, like what could you give advice for someone who wants to get a sponsor? Because you work with a lot of sponsors, I'd say. You've gotten a few sponsors.
Yeah, I've gotten a handful.
Like Squarespace and whatnot.
Yeah, I've got a handful. Best advice. I mean, for me,
I had a better question in my head too about advice, but I forgot it now.
Oh no.
It was something about clothing.
What about clothing? Because I don't have great advice for sponsorship. I have a little advice, so let's.
No, it was something about clothing.
Let's see if we can figure out this other question.
Why don't you just give a piece of advice?
Let me give you my 2 cents. So with the sponsorship, I think almost all of my sponsors have been where they reach out to me. I haven't had quite as much luck reaching out to people and trying to get sponsors, but I also haven't done so much reaching. Like, I haven't really asked a whole lot of different brands for sponsorship. And so with that, I mean, I'm probably missing out on a lot of stuff thinking about it, you know, like I'm probably missing out on a lot of opportunity of having sponsors. And
But even that, I feel like you could just take into your own hands eventually. Like the show could be sponsored by your brand.
Right.
You'd be like, go to blah.com and shop cool clothes.
Which I feel like that is kind of how like those bigger, only person I can think of right now is like Logan Paul.
Yeah,
how
with
much
their merch.
Yeah, their merch. They just spit their merch so much. That's like everything. I'm like, okay, but it makes sense. I mean, if we have these companies or brands that are willing to sponsor, you should probably be willing to sponsor yourself, right?
Yeah. Have you ever seen your stuff out in the wild?
Out in the wild. I don't know if I have. I haven't really.
Probably been not completely spontaneous. Like you at least knew them.
Yeah, a lot of times I just knew them, or they're friends. There's been like a couple occasions where people have recognized me.
Oh, tell me about that, because I only have like 2 or 3 stories myself.
Yeah,
they're always interesting. What was the first time you got recognized?
Let's see. The first time.
Because your face wasn't in a lot of your videos, was it? It was just your
Yeah,
hands.
mostly it's my hands. So I'm like, I was kind of weirded
recognize
out, to
your
be
voice.
honest. I'm like, how
Where was
they
it?
know? It was in Salt Lake, so the bigger city from where like in Utah. It's 2 hours away from where I lived. I went to this little pop-up shop for this clothing company or something or other, and just someone there was like, "Hey, do you make YouTube videos?"
What was that like?
It was weird. So it was the first time, and I didn't really like. It kind of caught me off guard, and I'm kind of an awkward dude, and I'm just like, "Yeah, I make YouTube videos." They're like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "Yeah, sorry, I'm just being weird. Yeah, I make them. Have you seen them? What do you like?" And I honestly think they recognized me from my shirt.
Probably.
Because
yeah.
I was wearing like this really like this shirt that's like covered in cats. Not the one I made, but a different one that I had in a video.
They just thought this dude looks a little zany. This might be the guy that
he does something weird. Yeah, no. So that happened.
I remember the first time was when, after that moment, you're like, "Wait, these are real people watching."
These are real
that was the
people.
first when someone recognized me for the first time. I was like, "Okay, there are real people watching. This is not the Truman Show." I'm not.
This is reality. What was I talking about the other day? I'm getting the signals from Christina to not even mention this. Never mind. This isn't a simulation. We're not living in a simulation. This is real life.
Oh my god. I'll link in the annotations. I'm going to link in the annotations this conspiracy theory that Brian has been trying to prove now.
I was trying to explain it so
about
much.
like
Oh
how we're
my
all living in a
gosh.
simulation. But I'll link it because he's failed at proving it twice now. But
Oh Lord.
I mean, that was cool at this event. Was this the first event that you've done, this cheap seats things? We spoke on a
Yeah.
panel together, which again I'll try to put up if it's ready.
Yeah.
Do you like that, like answering people's questions? You have like a natural thing to help people, kind of.
Yeah,
right?
I really like. I feel like a lot of times it's hard for me to get my point across on the spot with questions.
Yeah.
But in the same regard, like I wouldn't have liked giving a talk where I like prepared everything out. I did like the organic feel, and like
Yeah,
kind of
it's
the
easier.
spontaneity, the spontaneity of everything. And I think, like, I feel like on the panel, I feel like you gave out like actual good answers, and mine were like, I don't know, just like have fun, bruh. Listen to your mom; she knows the best.
See, I feel like the opposite. I was like, crap. Brian just said that right answer. Now I'm gonna say like this answer that I was delusionally thinking was right in my head. But no, it's always
man.
good. That's the thing. There's no one right advice
Right.
or whatever.
For sure.
It's like just take everything with a grain of salt and use it. Take the good, leave the bad.
And I think that's one of the cool things about the podcast that you're doing. I feel like
Have you been on a podcast?
it's just like a couple.
Okay.
They were kind of like of my own makings, and we'll see if
Well,
anything comes of it.
Wait, tell me what was cool, then I'm going to tell people about your future podcast that you're
Oh,
planning.
okay. So the cool thing about the podcast like that like you're doing and everything, I think people have this really huge resource, and like when, like talking to me, I feel like I'm just like spinning out a ton of different things, and some stuff like may not stick to like what people hear, but like the cool thing is you're reaching such like a bunch of different people's opinions, or you're getting a bunch of different opinions, that something that someone says is gonna make the difference for someone out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like
You might have said one thing, even if it was something stupid, like the cardboard cereal thing.
Yeah.
Someone might be driving in their car right now and be actively trying to work out a problem in their head about something, and then be like, that's it. That guy was just grabbing the cardboard things from the garbage and using them.
Using what you got.
I need to do this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I think that's what's super cool about the podcast, which, I mean, yeah. I think
I agree, because hopefully everyone that's listening to this, they're each coming at it with their own goals, backgrounds, perspectives, and whatevers. And I agree, there's going to be something you say that is going to solve, it's going to be the missing piece that they were trying to work on in their head. And it might not even be exactly what you said. It's they might use it how they need.
Right. Exactly. Words right out of my mouth. This is what I mean. On the panel, Justin just knew what he was talking about. I'm over there. I'm just like,
say long sentences. Like, once you go over 20 seconds on a response, it's just more credible. But let's get into wrapping up here, I guess. Like, so you have the Instagram, you have the YouTube, you have the Twitter, and all this where you share your work. Right. You teach, you collaborate, ton of cool stuff.
Thanks.
Totally recommend you guys checking it out, even if you think you're not into like making clothes or screen printing.
I try to keep it interesting. I try to keep it.
It's funny.
I try to keep it really relaxed.
It's good stuff. I think anyone who's into design could appreciate it.
Cool, thank you.
Or like these softwares that I teach. But what are you working on in the future? You're starting like a Nicolas Cage podcast and all this stuff, right?
I want to. I seriously think I might do it with Christina, my sister. Just like watch a video of Nicolas Cage every week and then just talk about it.
If you do the math, right?
Yeah, we did the math. There's 96. Yeah, I think there's 96 films. And so that's, if we did one every week, that's like 2 years of content
That's a full career.
That's a full career.
You could retire after that. But aside from that, like...
retire from Nicolas Cage. My dreams have been fulfilled.
What's the next step? So you've transitioned out of your regular job into leaping into this thing. You're drawing on your background experiences of like those brands you started for fun in high school, and now you're all that stuff you accidentally learned in a way, you're now being able to share it, coming at it a little bit older, sharing it with people and like repurposing it. So where do you see things going, or like any goals or plans moving forward now?
I think just keep on going. I think trying to push myself, not being scared of failure, because like from all those failures I've came this far because of that. So trying new things, maybe doing live streams. I mean, I'm open to a lot of things, and I think that's gonna be the future of really what Shmoxd becomes, is whatever happens and works and sticks is what, as long as it's what I like, you know.
So you're not gonna turn into like
as long as it's what I like and I can have my passion behind it, that's what's gonna happen. So whether it be some streams or I just keep on doing how-tos.
I think you still haven't even scratched the surface on all the stuff you could do. Right, you don't feel like you're running out of steam and you're like just getting started. I feel
exactly. I feel like I'm just getting started. I feel like it's the sky's the limit.
The sky is the limit.
Oh yeah, for reals though. I feel like there's so much more that I can fail at. So
I like that you say that, because I said this in a previous podcast. I feel like you can only succeed as far as you failed.
Oh yeah.
Like, if you've had some crazy failure, fired from your job, some girl broke your heart or something.
She broke my heart into 1,000 pieces.
Would you say there was a crazy heartbreak story involved too?
Oh yeah, there's been a couple.
That motivated you.
Do you know what? Yeah. That's a whole different story, though. We're not getting into this.
I don't want to get into it, but would you agree with me?
Yeah, for sure.
Like, I want to get into it,
but you broke my heart.
But would you agree with me?
Blankety blank. I'm not going to soil her name. You broke my heart.
Would you say that after that moment, you were, like, super determined to make something of yourself?
Oh, yeah. My perspectives changed. I wanted to show that all her next boyfriends aren't as cool as me. It's whatever.
But seriously, though.
Seriously, yeah. Yeah, no. Yeah, there's... It's crazy what life changes will motivate you into being a better person or a better creator, or really, inspire you. As broad as the word inspire is, like.
So anyone out there who's about to fail or going into a failure, just remember, you'll be thankful for that one day.
It sucks
eventually.
now. But learn
any
from
closing thoughts? Any
closing
what do you
prayer?
want the people to do? Closing prayer, like you have their full attention.
I'm from Utah. It's like Mormon capital city of the world.
I know.
Anyways.
I didn't even ask you about Mormonism.
That's a whole nother podcast as well. But anyways.
More coming, okay, guys.
More coming.
After we go to the beach, we're gonna go to like the jungle.
Dude, we should just do location podcasts with you and I.
We actually had a really
shit.
like a good one. Yeah, we were gonna do one in like a road trip podcast. But anyways,
closing remarks.
Or like anything. What do you want the people to do? What do you want to tell them? What?
Man,
you have all their attention right now. They just listen to you for an hour.
This hot nonsense. I don't know how, after all this hot nonsense, if anything I say is going to be credible. But, no, I don't know. Just live your dreams, bruh. That's terrible. That's terrible. No, real life. Look to like your failures. Don't let them stop you. You're born with like being creative. Let like that curiosity be your drive to be creative, and just put yourself out there. Try whatever you have to. Some things aren't gonna work, and it's just figuring out your own niche, and figuring out what works for you.
All right, well I'll tell you guys what y'all need to do. All right, that's some motivation for you. But you guys all need to give this episode a 5 stars on iTunes.
5-star, please.
You need to
5-star, please.
Oh crap! I was making fun of the Uber driver, and here I am doing it.
Oh no.
At least, okay. Anyways, you guys all need to go check out Brian's channels. I'll leave them all linked. Pretty much Shmoxd everywhere.
Yeah, it is.
Shmoxd everywhere.
You were asking me to plug stuff, not be inspirational.
No,
I'm sorry. I'm just too inspirational.
No. I was asking you for I was asking you for the inspirational.
Oh, okay,
and I
cool.
was gonna do the
my boy
plugs. So yeah, I'm gonna leave all his links. And you can also subscribe and find this podcast on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, everywhere, basically.
Anywhere you listen to podcasts.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for listening, genuinely. If you did, the one thing I do want you to do after all those 100 things that you just did is send us a message on Instagram, right? You like Instagram messages?
I do. I answer all of them.
Yeah.
I try to. Sometimes I get. But anyways, yeah.
I will send us a message, like if you listened all the way through, I'm assuming if you're here, then let me know what you thought. If there's a certain point that resonated with you or a question that you had that you wanted to elaborate on.
If you want feedback on my Nicolas Cage podcast, tell me if it's a good idea.
Yeah, just message us, let us know, or just tell Brian thank you for agreeing to sit on the beach with me for an hour.
It's been nice.
And I'll see you guys in the next episode. Thank you so much, Brian.
Thanks, Justin.
Thanks for taking me to Disneyland, everyone. Everything. This has been the best.
Of course.
Okay. Done.
That was awesome.
That was